Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is an extremely special video because I have had this in my heart to bring this story to you for a very long time. It is the story of one of the most inspirational people in our world of windsurfing. It puts so much into perspective and a total benchmark for what I would consider to be the epitome of resilience, endurance, and how windsurfing absolutely was the pinnacle to changing his life and in a way also saving his life. Hannes has one leg and he learned windsurfing after he lost his leg. So here is Hannes Onefoot's amazing story.
Well, when I was 19 years old, I had a car accident. Well, I was involved. I was just sitting in the back of the car, and yeah, there were some medical problems that led to the amputation of my left leg. Lots of difficulties that summed up. After 2 days, they had to amputate my leg. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here.
That must have been a very horrifying experience for you.
Yeah.
Because you were quite a sporty person beforehand, even before it happened.
Yeah, I was always. I grew up with lots of sports. My father used to do skiing, and I liked to ride bicycle. And skiing was my main sports when I was a teenager. Yeah, and then with 19 this happened, and this made a really hard break in my life, and
Sure.
was not easy.
So you windsurfing before that accident happened, Hannes?
Actually, I was once for 20 minutes or so on a windsurfer, I think original windsurfer, with a wooden boom and this triangle sail in 1978.
Yeah.
But at that time, nobody knew how to handle it,
Yeah.
and neither, of course, did I. So I was just getting up and falling down on the other side or on the same side, and I thought, but I saw other guys that could do it, and I thought, well, next year I'm going to learn it. And then the accident happened, and I thought, well, it's a pity I will never be able to do this sport.
Oh, so that seed was planted.
The seed was planted, but I thought it's never going to work with one leg.
How did that all change? Like, because you were lying in hospital, and then at that time it was really must have been a mental low for you to be in that state and to think about this daunting thought. Suddenly, you're not able to do any of the sports that you have done.
Yeah.
How long did you stay in that space, that dark space, and not knowing what the future holds?
Yeah, well, I had a amnesia for 2 or 3 days, and I didn't know what happened in between, and I just woke up in the hospital, and I didn't know that my leg was already amputated. So
Sure.
I was just asking, and I thought it's a nightmare. There's something is wrong. I came from a party and I thought I had drunken too much or whatever, and I'm dreaming or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not
And
real.
Then, and I was lying in the bed and I felt my left leg was going through the bed down. So I asked the nurse, "What's there's something wrong with the bed?" And then she told me, "After no, everything is fine." And but I kept on asking, and then she said, "Your leg is gone," and I said, I don't believe that. I can still feel it. And then she said, well, pull away the blanket and see for yourself. And I did that, and
Yes.
it was a little bit of a shock because it was true. The leg was no more there.
Suddenly gone.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I had the worst hours of my life.
You also developed some kidney problems after the amputations and stuff that you had.
Yeah, I did before.
Yeah.
I got because the problem was that my artery of the leg was ruptured.
Yeah.
And the doctors didn't realize it
Yeah.
soon enough.
Yeah.
Only my father realized it
Yeah.
when he came 3 or 4 hours later in the hospital.
Yeah.
And he told them there is no pulse in the lower feet.
Yeah.
And then they realized the
Yeah,
artery
they
is
do the
ruptured.
amputation,
Sure.
yeah.
So all the muscles were, they tried to fix it and so on, but the muscles were already gone, and I got a
Yeah.
kidney failure, was on dialysis for 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It was also not a nice thing because
Yeah.
was not allowed to drink, and then when the kidneys started again working, I had to drink 10, 11 liters per day.
Oh,
got really
wow. Yes.
fed up of drinking.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
As much as I wanted to drink in the first 3 or 4 weeks, the more I hated it then.
It's like the two extremes.
Two extremes. Yeah.
Even if they brought you some beer.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I thought my life is gone. No more sports. Anything won't work anymore. And my first thought was to kill myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One can
Sounds-
understand
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to jump from. I did. I was jumping from the bed to the window, and I looked down on the window and I saw it's only the first floor. So I thought, well, if I want to kill myself, I would have to jump head first.
Yes.
Otherwise, I would have
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
some more broken bones.
Yeah.
And then I was sitting there, and a nurse came in and she asked me what I was doing, and I thought I don't tell her what I was intending, because otherwise it would fixate me in the bed.
Yeah.
So I said I just wanted to get some fresh air, and they put me back in the bed, and then I waited for the morning, and I waited to wake up from this nightmare.
Yeah, nightmare. And how long did you stay in that state of mind where you just didn't want to believe it?
I think it took some weeks.
The thoughts of getting into some kind of sport must have started to cross your mind very early on.
Yeah, I spent I think 6 or 7 weeks in the hospital, and afterwards I was released to a rehabilitation center where I met other guys with amputations.
Yeah.
And I saw what they can do, and the sports trainer there,
Yeah.
they had made a very good motivation for all of us,
Yeah.
and so I motivated me very well, and I started to do sports again.
So you were actually inspired by the fellow people with
By the
Yeah,
fellow
yeah.
people, seeing
Wow.
people with 2 legs amputated, with 2 hands amputated,
Sure.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I saw, well,
You're not the worst of.
I'm not the worst. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
a
and
nice
I'm still young.
perspective.
I can do a lot, and the same year and the same winter I spent in this rehabilitation center because of complications and following operations, so nearly 10 months. And during the winter, I started skiing again.
What was it that got you to windsurfing at that time?
Well, I didn't start windsurfing immediately afterwards. It took me 5 more years to realize that I could do it. My friends from the skiing club where I was a member of, they all started in the late 70s, early 80s with windsurfing. And then I think in 85 or so, a friend asked me to join him in Vienna on a small lake, just to step on a big board with him, and was just holding on to the mast, and he was holding the sail. And I thought, well, it's a great feeling. I want to learn that. And then I thought about how could I do it, because with a normal prosthesis, with a knee joint, it won't work. So I asked my orthopedic technician, how we could do it, and we made a wooden leg and with a rubber on the bottom, so that I could stand, and it was waterproof. Then I started the next year. I had my first windsurf board, but it was not so easy because the windsurf board didn't have any anti-slip on it. And I didn't know that other boards, they had anti-slip. So I was sliding, when the wind was coming in a gust, I was always slipping away. But I was able to do my first planning on that board. It was a sailboard 360 or something like that.
Yes.
And from that on, I knew this sport is never gonna end for me.
And you got that board planing without anti-slip on.
Yeah. Was not and without any foot straps.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was called the Old Danube, and there were high trees around, so the wind was very gusty. Yeah, but I managed to do it, and and then after the second year or so, I went to Lake Neusiedl, close to Wiener, 60-70 kilometers away, and there is where I really started, and I got a new board, F2 Comet.
Comet.
Also with a dagger board. This had anti-slip, and I was already going in the foot straps, and then I had to find out how to have the foot of the prosthesis so that I wouldn't slip through the foot straps, because this also once happened to me. I was completely through. The leg was in the foot straps, and I was lying back, and I was nearly drowning because I couldn't get out of the foot strap. So I had to dismount the prosthesis.
To get free from the board.
To get free and not to drown. And then I couldn't put on the prosthesis, so I had to walk with one leg and the prosthesis and all the sail and all the stuff back to the shore.
Oh my word!
Fortunately, it was shallow enough.
Yeah, Lake Neusiedl is quite shallow, so the deepest part is maybe 2 meters, and usually in summertime it's only chest high or so.
Yes, so but even that, you did not give up.
And then the technician, he changed the foot piece of your...
no, it was me.
You did it yourself.
I did it myself, and I thought how I could do it so that I wouldn't slip through the foot straps anymore. This developed with the years, got better and better, and since 10 years or so, I think I have the best the perfect solution for me.
Now, do you come from a technical family? Was your father quite hands-on?
No, complete opposite. but I was always, when I was a child, I was very much into
building
things with my hand. I was a very big fan of Lego. I built lots of cars and trucks and things like that, and houses, and also like to do woodwork and the hammer and the saw. And,
so you would have been a better orthopedic surgeon than a pathologist.
Yeah, maybe, yes. But at that time, my prosthesis was not that good, but I would have liked to get orthopedic surgeon, because it is very similar to woodwork. But I was happy as a pathologist as well. I could do some work on the bones as well.
How old were you at that time when you learned windsurfing? When you got it?
26.
26.
This was just after I finished my studies.
Perfect.
And I think if I had studied earlier, I wouldn't have finished my studies. I would have gone to somewhere to the windsurf industry, do a job there, or do something else.
But you actually now have the best of both worlds, because you're retired and you also do your own fins and boards.
I started in the late 80s or so with a friend who inspired me. I said, "Oh, Hannes, let's go. You know a little bit about epoxy resin," and I was already building fins, or trying to build fins at that time, and said, "Well, let's start doing a board." And he got a video from a VHS cassette, how to build a board. And we had this, and we also got some scripts of how to do from another company. There was no internet at that time, so you had no YouTube videos that showed you how to do it. Yeah, the first board was just a replica of a AHD board,
Yeah.
and it performed very well.
Yeah.
And then I made the second one, and then here in Langebaan, I met Günter Lorch. At that time, I was building them from hard foam and just outer layer. And
Yeah.
Günter Lorch, he told me I have to build sandwich boards. All the rest would not work.
Yeah.
So he gave me his telephone number in Germany. I called him, and he got me the first material for building it. And from that on, I built it
The proper
The-
foam.
the
proper
proper-
foam sandwich boards.
Yeah.
Wow. What elements of the windsurfing is for you specifically like the most challenging with your situation?
I think it's boards. Yeah, I can go on normal boards when they are bigger, but
Yeah.
with the smaller boards, it's getting really a problem because my foot straps are not in a symmetrical position.
Yeah.
With wider and bigger boards, it's not such a big problem. I prefer very light sails
Yeah.
and very light gear, as I'm not a
Light.
heavy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also obviously have to have a very good feel with your gear and the conditions. You really have to read the conditions super well and be in tune with your gear, especially for balance and
I think I'm very lucky to have a good balance.
Yeah.
I trained it when I was a teenager. I was balancing on the park benches on the. Once I got even fined from the police because of doing that.
Yeah. Do you find it hard to change to a new board, or do you adapt quite easily? If you built
Yeah.
a new, you obviously built all your boards yourself now,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
you know exactly what you want.
Yeah. And even if I have a new board, as I know where now I have to put the foot straps, the position, and the fin and so on, mast trick, I never have a big problem with new boards. I have more problems with tuning in the sails,
Yeah,
the new
yeah.
sails.
yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
find it technically different, your boards, in comparison with a production board?
I think I have for the slalom boards, I have nearly the same rocker, or I have the same
Ah.
rocker line. Well,
The
for
foot stretch.
the foot
The foot
straps
strap
for
position.
the prosthesis, I would
Yeah.
have to change.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all. That's it.
I think
Wow.
that's all. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Fantastic.
The most difficult thing nowadays for me is to get the cutouts right on
Yeah.
the slalom
Ah,
boards.
Yeah.
This is, and I don't have the or the possibility or opportunity to build several boards and then find out
Yeah.
which cutout is the best.
Perfect. Yeah.
So
You need to do it right the
Yeah.
first time.
We can all really stand by the fact that you go past many people on the lagoon. It is really a difficult thing to keep up with you on the water. You are
Yeah.
extremely fast. What do you measure your speed? Just for interest.
I do, yes. Yeah.
What's your top speed?
Top speed is 67 kilometers per hour.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's good. That's
Where
good.
was
But-
that good?
Yes.
But that was in Cabo Verde, in São Vicente,
That's
where there is a speed spot. And,
What kind of gear were you on when you did that speed?
I'm not sure if it was a 54 wide or 51 wide board. And I think it was a sail with 5 square meters or so. I only remember the captain. I was on a boat there, and the captain said, "Hannes, if you want to do your top speed, you have to go out now." And on that day, I came home from discotheque 5 in the morning. I was still a little bit drunk, and I had no fear going in the strong wind. So this is why I did my fast.
Just to get a bit drunk.
But I'm no more doing this. My main goal is not to hurt myself,
push the
to
limit,
break anything,
Yeah,
yeah.
my gear or my body.
Yeah,
Just to
yeah.
enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone out there, I think, would want to know what kind of other sports do you do to keep fit if you don't windsurf?
Well, I enjoy very much skiing. In the last years, I didn't have much time for it because I'm spending my winter time in Langebaan.
Nice.
But if it's possible, in February, March, I still go skiing as much as possible. And for exercise for my cardiovascular
Yeah.
system. I do a lot of biking, mountain
Nice, mountain
biking
biking.
and road biking.
And how do you mountain bike?
I just do it with one leg
Yeah.
and one pedal, and I have this SPD system from Shimano, with which I can pull up the pedal as well and then push down.
That's really inspirational because even mountain biking is the last thing you would think of
Yeah.
someone doing with one leg.
So on the prosthesis side, the bike has got no pedal.
Yeah, no pedal.
No pedal.
Yeah,
And you take the prosthesis off.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
My left leg is too short to wear a prosthesis while cycling.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I had a longer stump, I could be wearing a prosthesis and a second pedal on my bike.
What is it about windsurfing that it's of all these other sports available? Why windsurfing?
It's such a fantastic feeling. You feel every little chop in the water. You're going with high speed, and then if you succeed a fast jibe, it's such a wonderful feeling. And you don't need a lift to go up the mountain. You go both directions just with a natural energy, natural power. And this is what is really great about it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about windsurf foiling?
In fact, I've tried it here 3 years ago,
Yeah.
here in Langebaan. I was doing it for an hour or so until I was completely exhausted. But I didn't like the feeling so much. I prefer to feel all the little bumps in the water and not being above the water and like standing on a pillow, this soft feeling. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So from all the spots that you have been to in the world windsurfing, which one would be your favorite spot?
Oh, that's difficult to tell because I think that for every season there's a favorite spot for me. I like my home spot, Lake Neusiedl, when it's enough water, and when the weather is fine. May and June usually is quite good, but I also like Greece, Rhodos, and Marathon, and lots of other Patras, Croatia, in Vigan. There are so many nice spots where I enjoy.
Here in Langebaan now, where you do lots of, you do slalom sailing here mainly,
Yeah.
but you also do wave sailing.
Oh yes, forgot that. Yeah, in February I'm gonna go to Cape Verde to São Vicente and we're starting from a boat, from a ship. It anchors 300-400 meters from the shore, and from there on we go into the waves. We sail into the waves because you can't get into the waves from the land side. And we also go to an island that is uninhabited. Yeah.
Nice.
So there's only the chance to go there by the boat.
Paradise.
And this is
Yes.
there's sandy beach and turquoise water and nice waves.
How long did you take from day one to now I can windsurf?
Several years, I would say. I was already going on smaller boards, but I couldn't manage jibe or water skiing. I just learned from friends. Friends were giving me some tips how to do it, but I think I would have learned much quicker if I had gone to a windsurfing school. Well, the first time I was on Lake Garda, I had to learn water start. I had a Clapper 272, and I could, in the good times, when the water was not so choppy, I could uphold the sail, but this was not always possible. So I immediately realized I have to learn the water start. And
That must have been tricky, you know, with an artificial leg to do a water start.
I realized I have to go with the right leg, the normal leg first, in both directions.
Right.
Nowadays, this is not a problem. This is
Second nature.
This is without any thinking or so.
You do it.
I do the water start.
So you use the normal leg onto the board.
Put it on the board. Every time. If it's front leg or back leg,
that makes sense.
back leg, doesn't make any difference.
What impact did learning windsurfing and incorporating it into your life had on your mental state of mind?
It had a very big impact because from that point on when I started, it changed my complete life, because I was only thinking about windsurfing and next possibility to go on the water, checking the wind forecast and trying to get away from work.
Improve.
As early as possible when there was wind on the lake.
And the magic about windsurfing is you never stop learning. Every
I'm
day.
doing it now for I don't know, nearly 40 years or so, and I'm still improving.
Yeah. And in future, what would be like for you more goals in the future, event-wise or destination-wise and experience-wise with the sport?
Well, I'm not going to go into races. I've done a lot of ski races, and I don't like this waiting for the start and waiting in the cold weather or cold water and all this, and training in really rough conditions, and so I just do it for fun. But there are lots of spots that I would like to visit, for instance Morocco and maybe even Australia, although I'm a little bit afraid of all the poisonous animals that are there.
If you had to say like one setup and the wind strength, water conditions, what would be your ideal favorite?
I very much like the combination that I'm using 80% or so here in Langebaan. This is my 5/8 free race sail on a 57 wide slalom board.
Okay.
This is my favorite.
That sounds like my favorite. What would your message be for other people out there in your same situation or similar situation who has gone through the same trauma and mental difficulty? What would be your message for them to inspire them or to motivate them?
Okay. I would say, well, never give up, of course, and you will always find a way with your disability to do the things that you really want to do. Disabled people have been on the Mount Everest. They have done such a lot of things. So it's not the end of your life. A new period starts of your life, and you have to find a way to get over it. The technical way. Like I had to do with my prosthesis. Decades of development, and now it works.
Oh yes, that's so inspiring. I think there's so many people can draw something from that, because there's not. I don't think there's one person in the world that doesn't go through something difficult or hard. Some less extreme than others, but it's still the same concept. It's like, and you are really a great example for everyone in that sense. Like for all of us, we really, it's when we see you on the water, none of us can complain about anything.
We got no excuse.
We must just keep our mouth shut and go sailing.
Come from the work, I'm tired, and I think, oh, this looks like too much effort, and then I see Hannes goes and you've got no excuse. Let's go.
So many people would want to follow your whole windsurf journey. Where can people follow you?
Well, I'm on Instagram under the name of Hannes Onefoot, and also on Facebook under Hannes Onefoot.
Awesome. I think we will definitely be watching your journey and to see where the world takes you and where windsurfing takes you. And we every year look forward to having you here in Langebaan.
Yes.
And maybe then we'll catch up again with you and see what's your new experiences in the sport and your new developments.
Yes, I hope there are many more years for me to come to Langebaan.
There will be. Yeah. Thanks so much, Hannes.
Thanks, Hannes.
Thank you for welcoming me.